a very, very selfish to you. I think that we've just got a very, very selfish culture of women. And to any women out there that say I have internalized misogyny or anything like that, that would require that I have a problem with women worldwide. I do not have a problem with women worldwide. I have a problem with Western women. And if you think that I'm just like making this up out of nowhere, reflect on the fact that there are Western men that are flying out east to find wives. Are Eastern men coming out west to find wives? No. Where in the world are men flying out in droves to marry American women? Nobody wants us. Why? We're big, we're selfish. We don't want to hear anything. You can't tell me to eat less. You can't tell me to change my life. You can't tell me it's not about me.
Whew. I have to say, she is dropping straight facts. But I think that most Western women recognize this. Now, the difference is, when you have women going to say this, the way that women are perceiving it, they're going to look at her like, hey, you're a pick-me chick. Because Western women, they're willing to submit, but all they're doing is calling men's bluff. That's mainly what's going on here. They became too dominant, but they're still telling guys, you have to do better than me. I think that we have a lot of guys that are not prepared to compete with their woman because they've been taught to love. Just like I said last night in last night's live, I said, whenever they started doing their agendas inside of the matrix and inside of the social media, the brainwashing was to tell guys, be nice to women because the masculinity that you have right now is considered toxic masculinity. So men have been taught that the way that they were thinking was bad. So men had to adjust the way that they're thinking, and their thinking transitioned into just treat women nice, treat women good, treat women this, which is why we have so many men now that are addicted to women. It seems like they're just obsessed with women. They're obsessed with treating women nice. And women are kind of like, hold up, you guys are major simps now. It's like all the guys are coming across as major simps. But throughout the brainwashing process, women were taught, go get a job and outdo a man. Go get a job and outdo a man. So what we have here is we have a psychological difference between man and woman. Men feel like their glory hole is treating a woman good, falling in love and romancing her. That's the mood that that the men are in because they've been stripped from masculinity ways. Their masculinity ways have been looked at as being toxic masculinity. So the brains have been conformed to pretty much worship women, and that has been done. That was done intentionally so men think this way, and women's brains have been taught to go get a job and outdo the man. What should have been happening is, instead of weakening men, the promotion should have been men go start a business because you have to outdo the women. Men go start a business so you can outdo the women. But men haven't been taught to do that. Mothers haven't been teaching their sons to be kings. They've been teaching their sons to be little punks that don't hurt women. They've been teaching their sons to be little punks that don't offend women. Men have been programmed to being something that cannot hurt a woman, but they have not been programmed into being a competitor for success. The woman has. We have a shift in psyche is what's happening in the Western world. Now, she says a lot of guys are going over to Eastern countries to get a woman. I want to say something about passport bros. Passport bros, you guys are doing your thing. You're getting your passports. You're leaving. But it's predominantly black dudes. Why aren't you guys promoting going to Africa to get a woman? Because the Philippine girls, they're cute, but they're just the cute side of Korean women. They're cute, but they're okay. They ain't doing nothing to the girls in Colombia now. Come on, that's where the beauty's at. Brazil, that's where the beauty is at. South America, that's where the real beauty is at. Even in African countries, that's where the beauty's at. So for the passport guys, my word to you guys is, let's start getting these passports and going over to Africa. Let's start talking about Africa instead of other cultures, because I think that that's where the promotion needs to be at. All right, let's get to the next video, and this is going to be coming from
Another recent study found that men's stress levels rise if their female partners earn more than 40% of the household income. Researchers find that promotions to top jobs dramatically increase a woman's likelihood of divorce, a pattern that does not hold true for men. In a series of studies published in the American Psychological Association's Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, men felt bad when their wives beat them at something, but they also subconsciously lost confidence when their wives got any wins, even when they
What she's not understanding is, I understand where she's going with that. See, what happens when a guy gets with a woman who makes more than him, the woman starts to belittle him because she starts to talk down to him because she starts to develop the alpha mindset. Regardless of how hard a woman is and regardless of how much money she makes, she's always going to want her man to do something. She's always going to want him to work and try to outdo her. So a lot of these women develop a competitive nature. This is why I tell a lot of guys that are dating Virgos, if you date a Virgo woman, you have to be a driven person because those type of women have a high work ethic and they're workaholics. So a lot of guys they end up with, they will talk down to them. Majority of women that are chasing success will not be able to love their man. And a lot of guys that are in relationships with these women, they feel unloved. That's one of the reasons why a lot of these guys run away or they may cheat. It's because they lose the connection. The woman starts to become more dominant to the point where he can't handle it. And it also has to deal with a lot of insecurity on the guy's end. Those are facts.
weren't in direct competition with their partners. And this was true across all kinds of achievements, personal, social, and intellectual. Men felt worse about themselves when their partner succeeded compared to when she failed. And when their partner succeeded at something they failed at, their self-esteem took an even bigger hit, and in turn, their relationship satisfaction diminished. There's quite a bit of this data that seems to suggest that for ambitious women, personal success comes with a higher likelihood of relationship stress. And
I agree. This is why we tell guys, you have to go your own way. You have to go your own way before you start thinking about a relationship, because a man has to take the time out of his life to become the best version of himself. The situation that she's describing is a situation that a lot of simps go through. A lot of simps end up with the woman that outworks him or the woman that may have the money because all he had to offer was being a nice guy, being a slave, borrowing her car while she's at work, etc., etc. But the entire time, he think he's winning, but he's just becoming more insecure. I've seen a lot of guys do this with their baby mom. Their baby mom is out working her job. She's a nurse. He's getting a car while she's on break. He's telling his boys like, yo, dude, I ain't got to do nothing. I'm sitting at home. I got the BM car. I got life is made. I know plenty of dudes that live like that. They don't do nothing. They're cheating on their girl while they're at work. And then one day, she's like, hey, I think I can do better. And he starts to feel insecure. But that's just one scenario. Not every man goes through that scenario. But she's pretty much explaining the importance of why a man, you need to have your life together before you get in a relationship. And you have to have that competitive spirit.
And as long as we live in a world in which women's ambition often comes with these steep social and personal penalties, it's likely that these gender gaps will persist. In fact, there's quite a bit of research that shows women often change their behaviors in interactions that involve men to avoid this kind of backlash. For more on this kind of research and data, visit tooambitious.com to subscribe.
Okay, this is why it's highly important that you have more to offer than just being a nice guy. When I stop and I look around, and I don't expect men to take this personal, because this is Sigma Nation. I'm already expecting you to be a guy that's on your grind. I'm expecting you to be working. I'm expecting you to be more confident when you get your life together so you don't find yourself dating. A lot of women that are constantly masculine and alpha search for weaker men. And in the process of searching for weaker men that they can control, the narcissist woman is what I would be talking about, is more likely to end up in these type of situations because she needs a man that's going to make the world revolve around her. So a lot of guys simp their way into relationships where women are taking care of them. The only downfall about it is the moment that woman starts talking to him like a little boy, it's natural that he's going to go to another woman that makes him feel better. So I've seen guys get in relationships with girls that have money, and then she starts talking down to him. He starts feeling belittled, and he goes and cheats on her with a bummy chick that ain't about nothing because the bummy chick made him feel like a king. Those are the scenarios that I've seen.